In today's fast-paced real estate landscape, success demands more than surface-level expertise. It requires insight, adaptability, proven strategies, discipline, and the ability to take risk. The Agent Brew podcast blends candid conversations with wisdom from industry leaders who've walked the path before you. Think of us as your strategic pit stop to fuel your real estate journey. From the crossroads of the world in the heart of Times Square, welcome to the Agent Brew, a podcast that percolates real estate insights. I'm your host, Eric Zollinger of RealtyCo. Welcome, viewers and listeners. Thank you for tuning into today's episode, where we will explore and navigate through the guest's unique journey in the real estate industry. It is such an honor and privilege to have today Scott Harris of Magnetic Real Estate. Scott, it's good to see you.
Eric, it's great to see you too. It's been a long time.
A very long time. So you and I know each other from my days at the related companies when I was working on One Madison. I can't believe, has it been like 11, maybe 12 years?
It's been a long time. Yeah. I mean, I probably can share a little more about that project at some point during the episode. So my name is Scott Harris, and I'm the founder, and I guess you could say CEO, but I just like to go with founder of Magnetic. We're a boutique real estate company right here in the middle of Manhattan. We are a team of 6 currently. We left a big box brokerage to do this. We did $150 million of sales last year, which would have put us probably the number 15 largest brokerage in Manhattan if we had been independent at the time. And over the last 20 years or so, we've sold about $2 billion of real estate.
Congratulations. That's great. So I'm curious to know, when did you get into real estate and what was the reason?
I started in real estate at the very beginning of 2003, and I got started in it. Really, it was a prompt. I was in the music business before real estate, and I was in New York and really struggling to figure out what was my next big step from the music business. And my stepmom, who has always known me really well, said, "You would be great in real estate." And I was sort of like, well, I got to try something or I'm not going to be able to stick around New York. And it was like, I don't know if the phrase is a duck to water, but it was like all the things I'd ever done before real estate locked in. And it was just, it was the most perfect fit for all the things that I was good at. I would say this about myself. I'm a very passionate person about what I'm working on. If I'm not passionate, I don't work on it anymore. So it was something that I was really excited about. I love real estate. I've always loved architecture. When I was in 4th grade, I thought I might be an architect. I grew up in a place, New Orleans, with lots and lots of architecture. So New Orleans and real estate, my dad was in commercial real estate. So commercial real estate and regular and residential was in the bloodstream.
It was in your blood. Wow, that's great. So it's no fluke that you have your own brokerage. And what was that procuring cause to get you to go out on your own?
Well, the last 2 years of the real estate industry, as mortgage rates went up in 2022. So as you moved into 2023, they were really tough years, and yet they were the 2 best years I've ever had in real estate. And so I took a step back over the course of 24 last year and go, well, we're doing something different. I was loving it. I was enjoying myself, managing the team, helping them grow, all the members of the team. And I said, it's time. I've been thinking about the entrepreneurship element of this business because I've always been an entrepreneur long before real estate. And it was just time to spread my wings. I just felt called to do it. And once I feel that calling, whatever it happens to be, I better honor that. And I've used that to really, I've followed that for my whole life. And I've really found that my life is much better as a result.
That's great. So did you have any mentors early on in the business? I mean, your father is commercial real estate.
Well, my mom was a marketing director for a Prudential affiliate, Prudential Louisiana Properties. So I really did look at my family, and I was learning all these things by osmosis. But when I was first in real estate, I worked for a company called City Habitats. My first manager was a wonderful guy named Eric McCarthy. He works in Long Island. We stay in touch. He was really, he guided me in a way that I thought was really wonderful as we started out. And then from there, I've had some wonderful people. I was at a company for 18 years, and the folks there were in many ways terrific, sort of guiding me really. I wouldn't always call them mentors as much as therapists, to keep me on track. And I think real estate agents, it's such an up and down. I think you just need people to give you perspective and help show you, hey, you're doing really great. And because you sort of internalize all the emotional pieces of the people that you're working for. So yeah, I mean, it takes a village.
It certainly does. And so if you started at City Habitats, then I assume you were primarily doing rentals and then you broke into sales. What was that process like?
I did rentals for 2 years. I was their number one guy in the rental side. Right, like I said, out of the box, it was just this was really my thing. I hustled like crazy for 2 years, and then I started getting into sales towards the end of that. And I moved to Corcoran, the Corcoran Group, where I was for 2 years. It was right after Barbara Corcoran sold sold her business to Realogy, and then I was there for 2 years before I moved to Brown Harris Stevens, where I've been for 18 years.
So over your career, what are some of your wins and why are they important to you?
I would say there have been some really wonderful wins. One of the things I'm most proud of, through COVID, we helped a buyer close on a really large penthouse transaction. And they were so freaked out. And it took about 2.5 years to get that closed. It was a new development closing, and just to guide them through that. And at the end, they were so grateful. They said, because they tried to pull out of the deal, Scott, we want to pull out, but then they really didn't want to pull out. So it was like the culmination of everything I had learned up to that point for, say, 15, 16, 17 years of my business. That was a real win. And the other, like I said, the last 2 years in real estate where we did $150 million last year, maybe 120 the year before, in spite of the overall market forces. I think those were, just to be able to build a team that could grow and lean in and thrive in those conditions was really a win for me.
Wow, great job. So I guess it begs the question, any transformational losses?
What I want to share with you is, kind of we're connected in that before, when I actually was at Corcoran, we had the opportunity as a team of maybe 20 to move over to Brown Harris Stevens to take on this tower at the base of Madison Square Park, which was at the time called One Madison Park. And I had the opportunity to work on their sales team. And it was the first time I'd taken on that kind of a role. It was really exciting. And we got it about 95% sold out. And then the cracks started to show in the real estate market in around 2008. And the hard thing was that I'd actually, as a salesperson on the team, signed a contract to buy one of the units. I thought I was going to flip it. Flipping contracts was a really popular thing to do in 2007. And they came to me, and the developer came to me and said, hey, we want to assign your contract to another buyer. And we'll give you I think it was $100,000 they were going to give me. Now, that would have been more money than I'd ever made on a single deal up to that point, okay? And I said no. I got greedy. I said no, and they fired me the next day.
Really? Oh my gosh.
It gets worse because then the whole project went sideways. The developer fell out. The attorney general ordered everyone to get their money back, but I had to litigate between the falling apart and the attorney general ruling to get my own down payment back from the people that fired me. So it was a total disaster and the best learning I ever had in real estate. It was such a humbling, important experience to have. I wouldn't trade it. And then the cherry on top of that was that a few years later, I sold a big apartment in the same project because I loved the project anyway. And you and I got to work together.
Well, that's great. I'm curious to know, do you utilize AI in your business today?
We're trying it out. I mean, I know we definitely use, I've used it in lots of different use cases, but for us, do we play around? Do we try to see what answers, come out? We try to, recently it's sort of become more baked into search engines. So it's helping find closing prices. It's just like greasing the wheels, if you will, of a lot of the searching and research that we're doing, but it's going to continue to be great. It helps little agreements, non-disclosure stuff that you want. It just helps you draft, quasi-legal documents. It's super helpful. I mean, I would say people should play with it, get used to it, figure out what kind of questions. I use it when I create my blog to create images that are not copywritten.
Have you heard of Claude?
I've heard of Claude. I love
Claude is one of my best friends when I'm online. So,
Yeah.
it just is so nice to be able to have an articulate best friend. So, that's great. Let's see here. So outside of real estate, any passions, any sports?
I write a lot. So I've kept a blog and a newsletter that I put out monthly for the last almost 15 years. So I was writing that, and it really comes back to my days when I was in the music business. I was on stage performing. I've been a songwriter. During COVID, I wrote a bunch of music. I've always been creative. Over the last few years since COVID, though, I actually wrote a book, which we can talk about. Maybe, we can certainly talk about. But the writing has been such a passion for me. Get in it, and this book, and just the creative outlet of that has been incredible. I also run. I mean, I've run like 26 marathons over the last 20
That's
years.
insane. Wow.
I would say that, it's more the goal. There's a lot to marathon running.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all just run fast and whatever. It's a lot of building up to every single time. It's a whole process, but it's between the music and the running and everything else. It's a pretty full life. Now, look, I do wake up in the morning at about 5 a.m. now. I meditate, and that's an important part of keeping kind of my head on straight for the rest of the day. And I have 3 children, so it's a lot to. First and foremost, you got to take care of yourself, some journaling, which ties into the writing. So I think there's just a lot of components behind the scenes that not everybody realizes they need to do if they're going to serve their clients better.
Right. So I guess your typical day week, then you're very structured. I take it. You have a set ritual or a daily routine that you like to do?
Yes. I mean, I'm definitely a person of habit. And certainly I've been a person of bad habits. I had to cut out eating all the candy that I eat, and I don't drink anymore. So there's a lot of things that I've decided wouldn't serve me anymore. But yeah, I mean, I found that most people don't realize there's so many things they do every day. And if they just stop trying to reinvent the wheel every single day, they can be much more productive, efficient, but also really effective. And I found that that's, just understanding yourself and what makes you tick and how you can be at your most helpful and caring and present is going to serve you, certainly in your real estate business and sort of overall, right?
That's great. So, let's play the gratitude game, because I think it's just a natural segue. For those of you that don't know, the gratitude game is rose, rose, thorn, bud. And we like to give it a little bit of a twist of coffee. We like to say the aroma. It's that first thing that you can smell in the morning. If you're a coffee enthusiast like I am, it just really is invigorating. So for you, what is that first thing in the morning that gets you out of bed, that really energizes you?
Well, right now it's magnetic. This is my new baby. I'm really excited about this entrepreneurial journey and how we can serve people better, how we can articulate what we're doing, and how I can help the team continue to grow, each of the members of the team grow professionally, personally. So that's what's waking me up a lot in the morning. And I'm about 8 months out from the launch of this book. So it's like all of the forces are starting to come together. So it's just waking up knowing I have so many things that I'm excited to do every day.
That's great. So the brew is the second rose. What brings you deeper satisfaction, or what is your why?
As time has moved on, I realized that it's really, for me, all about helping people. It's not that I'm a real estate agent. It's that I'm really somebody who likes to help people move forward in their lives, and real estate is the vehicle. So whether it's helping, that's what drives me. That's what brings me satisfaction, seeing people move forward. And it's both my clients and it's also the team. So to see every member of my team have their very best year last year in 2024 was incredibly satisfying.
Wow, that's incredible. Every single person. That's it's quite the feat. And it was not a good year. I mean,
so I hear
market-wide speaking. But it sounds like for you that's really great, being able to take when everybody else is down, being able to find those opportunities and really running with it.
I mean, it was incredibly powerful. We tend to just keep our eyes on our own plate. So, at the end of the year, we're like, oh my God, we're up 60% year over year. That's just really fantastic. And it's, but at the same time, we were just doing the things that we were doing.
So it leads to the next question, the thorn. Is there anything like the grounds that the people don't like to touch? Is there any obstacles or frustrations right now that you're not looking forward to or having to address?
I mean, look, getting out of your comfort zone is hard, but it's the only way you're going to grow. So the challenge is really like, I'm growing this amazing company. I'm really excited. I talked to dozens and dozens of my clients before we launched to say, hey, I'm thinking about launching this company. What do you think? They're like, go for it, man. Super excited. And can I invest in your company? What company did you work at again? All of the different feedback that people give to you. And at the same time, like, it's a shock to the nervous system because you're changing your routine from something you've been doing for so long to launching the company. But, over the last few weeks, it's like, all right, I'm back in it. It feels like it's starting to feel like a new normal. So I would say the challenge is really just getting adjusted to life as a true entrepreneur, not a entrepreneur inside of under an umbrella, but a true entrepreneur.
Well done. Great job. So, this next question is something I've been waiting for since we originally were talking about today's content. The bud, what are you looking forward to? Those fresh beans. Is there anything you mentioned? I think you said a book.
Well, I have a book coming out. It's called The Pursuit of Home. It's a guide for first-time home buyers. That, when I was writing it, I had my 35-year-old brother front and center. That he was my North Star. He just bought a house, and so I was bouncing ideas off of him for all this time. But I have a book coming out on Matt Holt Books. They put out a lot of interesting and amazing business books. This is sort of a business book, but it's like also a guide, a self-help guide in real estate close. This is about the emotional world that's underneath the transaction that every home buyer goes through, but no one talks about publicly. And I want to bring this conversation into the public sphere so that people aren't so shocked when they go to buy a home about all the things that they're going to go through personally. Because there is really, from when you start to when you're finished, there's an opportunity for real personal growth. I see it with all of my clients, whether it's a $15 million penthouse buyer or a $500,000 studio buyer. And I think it's true not just in New York, but it's true everywhere. People go through intense emotional experiences, and there's a way to do it in a way that is more fun, more nourishing, and ultimately has a better result, a home that people really love. And so every step of the way, I'm helping people figure, what does that look like so they can do that? How do you hire an agent? How do you get to know yourself better? And all of the different steps along the way.
Great. So when does this book launch? Is it October, you said?
Yeah, the book is on pre-order now. So if you go into your Barnes & Noble website or Amazon, you can go and see The Pursuit of Home. It's The Pursuit of Home, a real estate guide to achieving the American dream. You can go to Amazon, wherever you buy books, you can pre-order the book now. And I'm going to be speaking about it, over the next 8 months. It comes out October 14th.
Oh, great. Well, we will certainly support you in this endeavor. I'm very excited to read it. After all this, I guess if you could dial it back and talk to your younger agent self, this is my favorite part of the whole podcast.
Yeah.
What advice would you give?
I thought about this question a lot, Eric, and the simplest advice I would be able to give to my younger self is be kinder, not nicer. And what I mean is that there's a way to tell it like it is in the real estate transaction without meaning say what needs to be said rather than say what somebody wants to hear. And it's like to go from being a people pleaser to being somebody who ultimately, that it's more about helping someone through this process than having someone like you 100% of the time. And I think that ultimately being a truth teller with love behind it and care and compassion is a much better way to operate in this business than saying if you're afraid to tell the person the tough truth, it's going to bite you much later. And of course it bit me a zillion times over the course of I had to learn and relearn that lesson. So I would tell my younger self, hey, be kinder, not nicer, and you're going to go further faster.
Great advice. We're so appreciative to have you join us today. Thank you, Scott, for being here. Scott Harris of Magnetic Real Estate. We always like to end with a positive quote. And today's quote, actually, I have two from Henry Ford because they're very similar. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. And vision without execution is just a hallucination. And I think this last one, Scott, you had a vision, you've executed on it. Congratulations. Thank you again for being a part of the Agent Brew. We hope you'll come back, hopefully maybe in another season, to tell us how things are going. I
would love that. Eric, thanks a lot for having me. It's great to spend some time with you.
Our pleasure. And likewise. So I'm Eric Zollinger of Realty Co., reminding everybody it's a great day for real estate. Tune in next time. The Agent Brew podcast is brought to you by Realty Co. Realty Co. is your partner in real estate, bringing you game-changing benefits and services to empower your business. Visit realtyco.com for more information.